And obviously one of the big headlines is this Dak Prescott story. So just to get back to the original report, the Cowboys, or at least it was reported by Ian Rappaport. He used several of his sources stating that Dak Prescott is expected to play on his current contract for 2024. Clarence Hill, my man Shield of the Fort Worth Star Telegram, said this from this quote actually from Jerry Jones. Quote, he is willing to do everything he can to help us win. And he says, and so we are here. We are here where we are. And we have our contract locked and loaded for this year. We can see as we move along how we are thinking, inclusive of everybody, including Dak. We'll see what we do. I don't have anything to report today. So he's basically Ian Rappaport. I think basically Jerry Jones was asked about the Ian Rappaport report. And that's what he had to say, that, hey, man, it could happen, but it's right now we haven't had any and they reported that they do have contract talks. They have had discussions about the Dak contract extension. Michael Gelkin reported that because the Cowboys have reacted to this story. And they're saying, as has been the case, there's no guarantee a deal comes in 2024, even is some believe it could benefit the club's financial situation if they did sign him to an extension, salary cap wise. But Jerry says, we are where we are. So basically that means there's a mutual understanding, as Ian Rappaport has mentioned in his breakdown, that they have a mutual understanding that he could play out the last year of his deal in 2024 on his contract.
And there is a factor in this that, there's still dead cap money if he's gone. So it's not like if you move off of him, you're gone with him. And well, that was that. And we have a bunch of free money that we can spend wherever we want because that Dak Prescott. But, at the same point, it's just everything about it seems as if it's not so much about the money at this point.
No.
It feels like this is about a principle and about that they want somebody who is there to try and win games, someone who is there to help them win a Super Bowl. And they don't necessarily feel it's Dak at this point, and they want to pressure him to show that it is.
And don't feel like it's Mike McCarthy either. They're basically saying, show me. They're saying, show me to both of those guys. Like, no, show me Mike McCarthy and show me Dak. And by the way, both of those guys had really good years last year. Mike McCarthy was calling the plays. Dak Prescott has his best year ever. But it's also about, what you do in the playoffs. And Dak has not been able to lead the Cowboys past the divisional round into the NFC title game and even give them a shot at making a Super Bowl. And what do I always say, you guys? Jerry Jones, you can say what you want about him and his football savvy and his football IQ. We know he's a brilliant businessman and marketing mind. But everybody in the NFL who's been around long enough knows about them 5-year windows.
Yep.
I talked about. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that no head coach and no quarterback pairing have won their first Super Bowl outside of that 5-year window together. That means it hasn't happened in NFL history. What would Mike McCarthy be? I believe he'd be at his 5th year.
Yeah.
Right. This would be, which is the 5-year window. Jerry Jones knows that. He's like, man, if they don't win it this year, we're not going to be the team that breaks that trend. Not this organization. He knows that 5-year window is real because the NFL has built that into the CBA, the salary cap, the way the NFL is structured, the way the rookie contracts are structured. You can only keep a certain amount of talent together for 5 years before you have to pay all those guys. And when you have to pay those guys, when that bill comes due, you're going to lose a significant advantage, especially, and it's usually associated with the quarterback being on the rookie deal. But that's not the only thing. But it's just the NFL has put in so many different mechanisms to keep parity in the league, and that's why the 5-year window. It's like I said, it's real. And this will be the 5th year for them. And once you exceed that, the odds of you winning a Super Bowl drop dramatically, precipitously. And that's, I think, something Jerry Jones is looking at too. Now, what is the plan going forward? Because here's what my gripe about the Cowboys. And I'll get into this more, I guess, when we get into Raj round of the day, because I know we are close to it. But the Cowboys have drafted the fewest quarterbacks in the NFL since 1999.
That's
the fewest.
Yeah.
The fewest quarterbacks in the NFL since 1999. And this situation that they are in It is a direct result of the bad organizational habit that they have of not drafting quarterbacks. And they ain't always got to be drafted high. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round. It's just the habit of you have to evaluate on your big board. And then when a time comes where you have a draft pick where you can draft a quarterback, you should draft a quarterback. Famously, Ron Wolf, well, the old Hall of Fame GM for the Packers, said, I draft a quarterback every year if they let me. Every year if they let me. They don't let me. All right, I get shouted down. But I draft one every other year or every 3 years. And that's how the Packers organization, and they still operate that way. Like, hey, man, we're going to draft a damn quarterback. Let's go. We have to. And that is to me, and I've been just studying the NFL. That is a healthy habit for an organization. You have to. And the Cowboys have drafted the fewest in the NFL since '99, and they've been, as a result, they've been the luckiest team in the NFL when it comes to the quarterback position. There is no question. They've had 2 franchise quarterbacks and drafted outside of the first 3 rounds, and one of them was an undrafted free agent. How often does that happen? Warren Moon, Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
You have an undrafted free agent become a franchise quarterback, the face of your franchise, like Tony Romo. That's rare. So they lucked upon it. They stumbled upon it. That was a happy accident. And then Dak was also a happy accident. Remember, they wanted Connor Cook. They wanted Paxton Lynch. Hell, Johnny Manziel could have been thrown in there. They drafted Dak Prescott. He was the 3rd-string quarterback. Tony Romo was the guy. He was fragile. He gets hurt. Kellen Moore gets hurt. All right, Dak's the guy. Let's see what he's got. And boom, you hit. Because that's how it works at quarterback. You never know. As the late, great Bill Walsh said, very few people can coach the quarterback position. Even fewer can evaluate them. So you just keep bringing in quarterbacks to see which ones got it. They brought in Brock Purdy. Turns out he was better than Trey Lance, the guy they drafted top 5 overall. And he was better than any other quarterback they had on the roster. And Shannon went, well, I guess he's the guy. You never know.
No. All
That's
right.
why you got to keep drafting him.
But saying that, the guy who does like to draft quarterbacks because he likes to put on there, that's the rumor that is out there that I've heard now, is that Jerry Jones has talked to Bill Belichick, that Bill Belichick and Jerry have talked, and they're basically saying either we win it all or Bill takes over next year and we clean slate it with Bill and let him come in and build his team and culture. And Dak's not part of that. And we're going to go and let Bill come in next season and, take the pieces we have. And Mike McCarthy's out. He gets whoever he wants in there, and we let Bill take over. That's the theory that I've heard. I don't know how much substantiation there is to that.
That's a good theory. That's a good one.
But we know Bill's available. We have a pre-existing relationship.
That's good.
And maybe he comes in and says, well, you guys, you just aren't building it right, and I can help you, but you guys got to clean up some things before I get there.
That is good. That is a fantastic conspiracy theory. A lot of meat on that bone. I would get out on that grassy knoll anytime, all day, every day. I'll get on that grassy knoll with you. That's good.
Yeah.
That is, and you know what? It lines up because Bill Belichick is kind of faded into the background. Everybody's like, man, Bill Belichick, what does he want to? Is he going to do broadcasting? Is he going to try to coach somewhere? And it's like, no, Bill Belichick seems to be fine. He hasn't retired officially, but he seems to be fine doing nothing. And that's not real Bill Belichick. And everybody knows he wants the coaching record. And he wants that all-time wins record for a head coach. And he also wants to prove that he can do it without Brady. These are motivations we know Bill Belichick has. We know he's still a damn good coach. He just needs to find his offensive coordinator, kind of a modern offensive equivalent. But we know that he's a damn good. That's money. I gotta tell you, that's money. I got another one, which is that we got two separate ones here. The conspiracy theory that I've seen, which is it's a brilliant one. God, it's so good. Is that Jerry Jones would get rid of Mike if they don't achieve this year, go to the NFC title game, get rid of Mike McCarthy, let Dak Prescott walk, bring in Deion Sanders, draft Shadur Sanders. And dominate the headlines with Deion Sanders and Shadur Sanders. Exactly. That's the one that I've heard that they'll have. Man, we'll trade some picks around, move up in the draft, get Shadur Sanders, because Deion's already stated And we'll play this audio later. He's already said he potentially could try to get Shadur to manipulate the draft a little bit. Go Eli Manning. Tell some teams, hey, I'm not playing for you. I don't want to play for you. If he does, that's already going to turn some teams off. Deion knows that. So even saying that would turn some teams off. So he's already trying to narrow down the teams that could end up being interested in Shadur. And that is the meaty conspiracy theory I've heard. He's going to get rid of Mike McCarthy, let Dak walk, draft Shadur and hire Deion, or hire Deion and draft Shadur Sanders. And there you go. Talk of the town. DFW, Deion with the Cowboys. You know Jerry Jones likes that. You know he likes that.
That's believable, but only because it's Jerry Jones, and it's scary that Jerry would do that and go, "Oh no, look at the headlines." You're like, Jerry, you can't hire a father-son combo.
I'm telling you, but think about it. Would they dominate the sports headlines at that point?
They would dominate the headlines.
A calendar year. Even if they don't win, even because the losses, them losing will be just as polarizing. You know that.
Oh yeah.
Be like, oh man, look at this car wreck Jerry Jones has engineered here. But if it works and it's good Lord, could you imagine?
I just don't know and I know Deion believes in himself a lot. I find it hard to believe that Deion would be like, let's set up for the biggest failure possible. To jump to the NFL that quickly.
Gotta dream big, baby.
Deion dreams big. And then to put my son in as a starting quarterback week one. Put my son in a position that most people fail in. Most people. That's not a shot at Shadur or Deion. That is a position most people do not succeed in that situation.
Agreed. You're looking at a 20 to 30% hit rate at the best at the quarterback position, even with competent teams, competent coaches who know what they're doing. No, I'm with you, but that I'll tell you, that is the Bill Belichick one is more sensible. That is actually you're talking about a football decision. That is a good football decision. But Jerry Jones is not always about making the best football decision. He's about making the best decision for the brand that is the Dallas Cowboys.
And let's be clear, I'm not sure it's the best football decision to bring in Bill Belichick either. I get why you do it, but
I think a better football decision.
I think to bring in a guy that you know will be 80 by the time you're hoping that he has the franchise where it needs to be is a bit risky. And for a guy that also, without Tom Brady in the last few years, could not bring a franchise that was down up in the Patriots. Now he can say whatever reason that was, but there's a plethora of reasons why you may say that is not the best idea to bring in a Bill Belichick at this point to completely rehaul with no quarterback ready to go. But again, a lot of this depends too. We have to see who do they bring in the draft or in free agency at quarterback. Do they just ride out with Trey Lance and hope that experiment works, or do they draft somebody and that could tell us a lot more?
They could, but I mean, maybe we don't know how the draft's going to go. A quarterback could fall to them. They get a good quarterback on their board that has, second, third round potential somewhere in the fourth round, like they did Dak. Why not draft? The point is they need to start drafting more quarterbacks. They should draft a quarterback. I don't give a damn where you draft them. They should put together a board and draft more quarterbacks. It is just it's a healthy habit. The Patriots were doing their dynastic run. You start looking at, the Philadelphia Eagles, and you start looking at teams like the San Francisco 49ers, teams that have had success, even like the Rams. Good teams, and even bad ones too, because the Jets are in that conversation, and the Browns have drafted a lot of quarterbacks because they've had to. But it's also teams that have realized what the asset the quarterback position can be, whether as a backup or you could just end up or upgrading quarterbacks. And the Cowboys, listen, there's a reason Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes now. They had Alex Smith, who's a perfectly fine quarterback, like a Dak Prescott. I think Dak is better than Alex Smith, but he's a perfectly fine quarterback. But he still ended up being upgraded. I mean, still upgraded that situation with Patrick Mahomes. The Cowboys could have used picks to upgrade over Dak at any time. They never chose to do that because organizationally, they don't draft quarterbacks. I've never understood that about the Cowboys. I understand why the Kansas City Chiefs haven't drafted a lot of quarterbacks. They've had stability with guys like Alex Smith and now Patrick Mahomes. I understand why the Indianapolis Colts haven't drafted a lot of quarterbacks because they had Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck forever. For the Cowboys, they should be drafting more quarterbacks because they've had a lot of happy accidents. They Forrest Gump their way into the last two franchise quarterbacks with Tony Romo and with Dak Prescott, and they should understand that. I wouldn't. There's nothing wrong with that because nobody knows what the hell they're doing when it comes to quarterback. I think the mistake for the Cowboys is the flaw in their logic is that, hey man, recognize that that basically it was luck. Bill Belichick did. That's why he kept drafting him.
Yeah.
He drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round. He was like, dude, who knew that guy was going to end up being potentially one of the GOATs? Hell, I'm going to keep drafting quarterbacks. Let's see if Cliff Kingsbury can be that guy. Let's see if Jimmy Garoppolo can be that guy. I mean, he kept drafting quarterbacks over and over and over again. And I think he did it because he understood, well, that was mostly luck. And to increase my odds of hitting on this quarterback, I got to keep drafting him. And you never know what those guys are going to become until you get them in the organization and get a look at them up close and personal, and then watch them play and watch them practice, because it's just such a special position that is hard as you know what to project, develop, and predict. All right, good conversation there. That's just the start of it. There's a lot more meat on that bone, and we'll get to it. But we got to go behind the burn on curtain next segment. Talk a little Texas football. New addition to the analyst staff for Texas on the defensive side of the ball. There's also an interesting